Somewhere in the folds of the clouds, lightning is preparing to strike. It's difficult to tell where. Lightning strikes occur at a rate of around 40 to 50 times per second around the world, adding up to a total of more than 1 billion lightning strikes every year in total. Each year, 1 in every 12,000 people is at risk of being struck by lightning, and of the 500 people who are struck by lightning, 90% survive the ordeal. Historically, lightning bolts have been directed at people because they are a particularly enticing target for the bolt's energy to be unleashed upon. Check out these 10 stories of people who were struck by lightning and survived to tell the tale. Number 10. Winston Kemp. Winston Kemp walked away from the scene immediately following the lightning strike, appearing to be unfazed by what had occurred. Because it was a ground strike, the most likely explanation is that the bolt struck him after bouncing off the ground. The pain in his arm didn't make him realize he'd been hit until the ache in his arm became unbearable. He developed blisters throughout the length of his arm, which after healing have taken on the appearance of a beautiful tattoo, which is in fact a fractal pattern made by nature and given to him. Number 9. Peter McCathie. Furthermore, he was not only struck by lightning but he also happened to win the $1 million prize in the lottery on the same day in July of that same year. While he was on a boating vacation with his pals, a white cloud loomed above him, and lightning struck him through the woods. He was able to make it through the strike. It also enabled him to share his profits with his co-worker, with whom he had shared the cost of the lottery ticket. He informed everyone in attendance that the likelihood of his getting struck by lightning again outweighed the likelihood of him winning the lottery. Number 8. Britney Wehrle. Britney, then 11 years old, was wandering through the streets of Washington, Pennsylvania, with a friend when the incident occurred. It was a bright and gorgeous sunny day with plenty of sunshine. But she was struck by a lightning bolt that had been unleashed by a storm that was taking place only a few miles away at the time. What are the possibilities of that happening? In bright sunlight, it is relatively rare for someone to be struck by lightning while walking around outside. Because lightning has the ability to travel large distances before impacting the ground or an unsuspecting individual, it is very dangerous. The only time Britney became aware of what was occurring was when she struggled to open the door to her residence and realized she couldn't move her left arm any longer. After arriving at the hospital, she discovered that she had a burn mark on her wrist and shoulder. It was explained to her by the medics that the bolt had entered her body through her shoulder and exited through her wrist, resulting in the breakage of her arm. Fortunately, the shock did not travel to her heart, allowing her to recover slowly over the next few days. Number 7. Melvin Roberts. A year after being struck 11 times, Melvin Roberts has been struck yet again, despite the fact that the odds of him getting struck are 1 in 700,000 persons. It is likely that living in a specific area enhanced the risk of getting hit more than once, yet, this is a highly unusual occurrence to have occurred in this fashion. It is important to note that Roberts resides in Seneca, South Carolina, a state in which the average likelihood of getting struck is higher than in other sections of the country. All of his accidents occurred on an otherwise sunny day while he was cutting the grass of a neighbor and twice while driving a bulldozer, and all of them were unexpected. In spite of the fact that his wife claims to have witnessed him being struck on a regular basis, the Guinness Book of World Records will not recognize him as the world's best striker since there is insufficient evidence. Number 6. Alice Svensson. The incident occurred in 2011 as Alice, a 12-year-old Swedish girl, was taking a shower at home. Lightning struck Alice twice, forcing her to tumble to the ground. After a brief break, her family was able to hear her scream twice more before the police arrived. In the bathroom, they discovered her screaming and grasping the titanium shower head, which they immediately pulled from the bathroom floor. It was revealed that an electrical charge had been put to the plumbing, which had then traveled through the pipes and caused the issue to occur. The fact that she was entirely saturated and barefoot did not pose a life-threatening threat to her. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Number 5. Sophie Frost and Mason Billington. Sophie was 14 years old at the time of the incident. Her partner Mason and she were walking down the street when a lightning bolt struck them both. They were both 14 at the time of the incident. Because of the electric charge that traveled through her iPod's wires to her, Mason suffered eye injuries, and Sophie's body was charred from the front to the rear. Mason's injuries were minor. It is believed by doctors that the iPod was responsible for a redirection of energy, which spared her vital organs from being destroyed to the point where she died. Her grandmother, who provided her with the iPod, ought to be recognized. They were both able to make a full recovery after suffering injuries. Number 4. Austin Melton. A thunderstorm struck Austin Melton, a 14-year-old middle school basketball player, while he was watching a game at his school. Melton was killed instantly. When a thunderstorm knocked out the electricity to the gym, his friends warned him not to go, but he agreed, reasoning that, at the very least, there's nothing to lose by going out anyway. He strolled outside and began to make a difference almost immediately. After that, all he could remember was being in the hospital, suffering from burns on his head, chest, and ankles, as well as an eardrum perforation as a result of the concussive effect of the electric current coursing through his body. Following the humiliating incident, he was given the nickname Sparky in honor of his bravery and fortitude. Number 3. Dylan Nicholas. One day, Dylan, a 21-year-old construction worker, was sitting against a garage door at his place of employment doing nothing but thinking about himself and eating lunch when a lightning bolt charged at him from behind and struck him. His arms were numb and he was moaning in anguish as he lay on the ground after being struck, his chest visible to all around him. Detainees believed he was having a heart attack and brought him to the hospital in the quickest manner possible. Fortunately, the garage door was able to withstand the majority of the thunderstrike, and he was not injured as a result. Number 2. Jaime Santana. After going horseback riding in the woods with his brother-in-law in Buckeye, Arizona, Jaime Santana was shot and killed by an unknown assailant in April 2016. When a storm began to roll in, they both made their way out of the location as quickly as possible. He realized what he had done too late, and not only was he injured, but so was his horse. As a result of the crash, Jaime was forced to spend 4 months in the hospital, where his recovery is still underway. As a result of his acts, he gained notoriety. In gratitude for his second chance at life, he expresses gratitude to his beloved horse, who received half of the charge intended for him as a token of his affection for the creature. Number 1. Roy Sullivan. To be hit 11 times is not as uncommon as it may appear to be at first glance. It is said that between 1942 and 1977, a man named Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning 7 times, with each strike resulting in his demise. As a park ranger for the United States Forest Service in Virginia's Shenandoah National Park, Sullivan helped protect the park's natural resources. In recognition of his apparent attraction to lightning, he was dubbed the human conductor by his colleagues in the field of science. An electric charge was applied to him once while he was traveling in his truck, which served as a Faraday cage, directing the energy to the earth beneath him. At another moment, he was struck by a train while inside the train station. He asserted that the clouds had followed him, and it was at this point that he was struck for the 5th and 6th times in the same incident. His most recent encounter was the most odd of them all. His life was threatened when he was struck by lightning while fishing in a boat and had to defend himself against a bear that attempted to steal his catch.